DJ Blake back with another one.
Alright, yep.
Get lit. Everybody get lit, get lit. Everybody get lit.
It's me and TV, giving no freebies. Haters need the chi-chis, catch us on TV.
That's okay though. Shawty throw it back for the pesos. If you broke, that's okay though. Shawty throw it back for the pesos. I can't keep falling for the same shit.
That shit super soaking.
Like right now I know all these tricks.
Either way,
And it's obvious that these women are gonna keep playing games. Self-care is a routine.
Self-care is
Self-care is a
everything, baby. Feel like lesson, taking shots like Smith and Wesson.
Ow! Shot me, a-holes!
But she rockin' like a runway. Coming to my house in the one-way, you look a team. Now she call me on the reg on my salty. Girl, you don't want a wedding ring, you just want me for my company. I just really wish you was my girl.
This is DJ Blake, and this next artist I've been lucky enough to get to know well over the past few weeks. His drive, compassion, and perspective on life is very contagious. From completing Macklemore's Residency program to performing at Bumbershoot and Capitol Hill Block Party in the same summer, it is easy to tell that his future is bright. I would like to welcome my friend, NÖSTRÄ. Welcome back, everyone. This is DJ Blake, keeping you up to date with all the hottest hip-hop news and sneaker talk. And today I'm here with the one and only NÖSTRÄ and his manager, Leighton. So it's a pleasure to have you guys here at the station.
Yeah, pleasure for having us. Thanks.
It's crazy because I've known you guys for maybe 2 weeks now before we've even done this this interview. So you guys want to tell the audience how we actually met each other?
Yeah, so it was at a show that we did, a collaboration with Who's Crowded. That's a application that you can get on Apple Store and on the Google Store. And we're actually here with the CEO and founder Bilal Saddam, and he put us on with the show with a couple of other artists, and DJ Fresh Pharaoh was there at the Union. It's this really cool art gallery space in downtown Seattle. And we showed up and pretty much had fun, made a lot of connections. Blake was there and a couple other artists too.
Yeah, that's what our events are all about, is connecting with other artists, you know, like after this we're going to go out to brunch, stuff like that. It's just making true connections with these different artists. And I've been able to connect with you for 2 weeks now, and I feel like we've got to know each other better, you know, and now we're here just able to actually just sit down officially and have this interview.
Yes.
So I want to start out with, what is the meaning behind your name, NÖSTRÄ? Because there are those like dots and stuff above the E's. Like, so I don't even know what any of that means. Because your real name is Elias, right?
Yeah, so my full name is Elias Abdul Kadir.
Hey.
I'm not saying that twice. The umlauts represent my initials, Elias Abdul Kadir.
Okay.
But the name actually comes from Greek mythology. She was a Greek queen, Clymnestra.
Okay.
So I just took half of that name, and I thought that was drippy. Added the umlauts to symbolize my initials.
Wow.
But not many people know that, so I try to tell people. It's kind of tricky though, like searching it up and stuff, but I think it's dope.
Right. So tell us about your like nationality and ethnicity. That's interesting.
Okay. Well, my mom is Somali and my dad is Ethiopian, so best of both worlds. A lot of people think I'm Kenyan or Eritrean, but that's a whole nother melting pot in itself.
Right.
My mom moved to Minnesota for like more opportunities, and my dad as well. And then half my life in Minnesota until I was 13. I moved to Seattle to go visit my sister, and ended up just staying there because I like the art, the culture.
Right.
It actually pushed me to be a musician and an artist. And the people here were just way more bright.
Right.
Rather than in Minnesota, it was kind of there's some dull and gray areas around that area for art.
Yeah.
Right.
So Seattle is where it's at.
So did you just appreciate music when you were living in Minnesota, and then officially when you came here, you're like, I can become an artist? Or how did that become?
So it was kind of like a little build-up. I mean, I started in Minnesota with music. Like I started doing drumline, and I got really good. I like just tried out. Like the first week, I got moved up to section leader.
Okay.
Because my rhythm was crazy. People
Section
were like,
leader.
"What? Who's this guy?" And it was definitely drumline. It was choir. just a whole lot of, music when you're younger, how like schools have you do those classes and stuff. And then I ended up really liking it on the low. But it was just hard to it was easier for me to tell my mom about it when I was younger. But the fact that I still wanted to do it growing up, it was harder to kind of like showcase that to my mom.
Right.
But, recently she came to the Paramount Theater fundraiser for the Residency.
Okay, that's awesome.
And raised a lot of money. It was a sold-out event.
Right.
And my mom came out and she was so happy. So it was just like this like big build-up to show her, to just showing her like how much passion and like blood, sweat, and tears I put into music itself,
right,
and art, and showing her that actually it can connect people.
Right.
So
can you explain to the audience, if they don't know, what the Residency is and how you actually became a part of the Residency?
Yeah. So what the Residency is, it's a youth development hip hop program. And it's not just hip hop, but that's what it's labeled as, like any other genre. As long as you make art, or if you're a photographer, even you don't have to make music. Like it's just an open community that I joined 2017, and I didn't really have much connections doing music around that time, like 2017 before summer. It's a summer program.
Right.
So once I seen this ad, the ad for it on Facebook, I was like, shoot, if I don't get into this, I don't know like how I'm gonna get these connections. And I got in, and ever since then, I'm still connected with them, and it's 2019 now, so
right,
it's just a good music community to go back to, a good music family.
Exactly. And
family.
doesn't Macklemore's like the face of that, correct? Or
Yeah,
how does that work?
Macklemore and Ryan Lewis, Art Corps, Mopop Museum.
Gotcha.
But it was initially Macklemore's and Ryan Lewis and Ben Secord.
Jonathan Cunningham.
Yeah, people like that wanted to start something like this.
Right.
So shouts out to them. That's a big deal.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you get to see people from all over Seattle coming there, or is it just how far away have you seen people come to go to this Residency?
I mean, like Burien, Auburn, like Everett,
Marysville.
Okay,
Yeah,
wow.
It's a greater Seattle outreach, and the application is open to anyone under 21 too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That lives in the state of Washington.
Yeah, the focus is the youth. So,
Yeah, that's where it starts, in the youth,
Yeah.
So what inspirations as a young child convinced you that you wanted to be an artist? You said you were in drumline, but from drumline to making like songs, like lyric wise, how do you make that jump?
Well, as a kid, like people like Chris Brown, or like even movie cinema, like the movie Drumline inspired me.
Nick Cannon.
Shouts out to Nick, and like
Legendary.
all the hard work they put into that movie, and hard work in general they have to put into Drumline itself. It's like I like that. I just like that a lot. But yeah, it inspired me more as a child rather than like now, because when you're a child, you kind of do things times 100.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so choreography, drumline, singing, whether it was art, something expressing myself, I just liked it.
So what influences have you gained from Seattle? You say you love the culture here, the people here. What makes it so different from a place like Minnesota?
Well, it's crazy because like I've done so much in Seattle rather than doing stuff in Minnesota, because like I remember when the first year moving into Seattle or to Seattle, I was listening to Thrift Shop by Macklemore, and like now now this dude just followed me.
Hey.
Now this dude just followed me, and like I'm connected with them in the program, the Residency. So it's like it shows you like if you stay committed, like you actually don't know where you could be in a few years if you just are passionate, and that's where it starts.
Right.
So I'd say like Macklemore, Brothers from Another, people like that were just doing it in Seattle and they were passionate. I was like, I could do that too.
Also to the Blue Scholars too.
Yeah, the Blue Scholars are dope. Who else? Paris Alexa, Soul, Dave B, people like that.
Gotcha. So you've made these connections. How did you end up meeting Leighton, your manager?
In high school.
High school,
Yeah,
yeah.
high school. We were pretty cool, but not as cool as we were now.
Right.
So that's actually pretty dope too. How we build a relationship through music and passion, and just our friendship too. And we would just chop it up in the hallways of Nathan Hale High School, and we would always plot on these music dreams.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely remember seeing Elias. Like he did the talent show.
Hey.
And do you remember what you performed? It was one of your songs, right?
Yeah, it was a sample with Al Green.
Al Green?
Yeah,
Oh, it was-
yeah.
Okay, that's
It's like some old school rap. I used to rap more. Now I sing and rap,
Right.
but mostly sing now. But yeah, the talent show, I won most original award, and ever since then I was like, yeah, I have something here. Like what?
That's-
I won an award. This is cool. I'm actually good at something, and then I just kept going with it.
right.
Yeah.
So you see a lot of artists in Seattle, but none of them like coming up, like independent artists have a manager right now. What made you decide that you guys were going to have this type of relationship?
Right. I'll say, like, now that I have Lane, I'm more comfortable in settings like this.
Okay.
Because I have me representing myself and Lane representing me too.
Right.
So it's it makes the work easier, and we represent ourselves smarter, I'll say, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I mean, the big thing about my role is that it's giving NÜSTRÄ the freedom to just focus on his artistry and focus on like building himself too, while I promote the brand and do the outreach and work with communications, because there's only so much that an artist can do by himself. And that's like, you see a lot of times artists, they've been doing it for so long, but they haven't really got much traction. But that, I feel like, is a lot because they don't have enough energy and time to really like keep their social media up to date and to like promote their own music.
Right.
And yeah, it really helps to have a team.
Yeah, definitely.
But, like a lot of times it comes kind of unnaturally, or like artists will get some traction and then sign to some
Random
type, like,
label or
like
something.
publishing
Yeah.
agency or like managing agency. But yeah, we met like super naturally, and I always saw the talent in NÜSTRÄ.
Right.
And yeah, I would, like a little bit about myself. I went to Nathan Hale and also Northwest, and after that I went out to Arizona with one of my best friends who was a producer. Actually, his name's Jay Streets, and we'd known each other since middle school, and he got into like early garage band and like FL Studio.
FL Studio.
Like Logic now, Ableton. And I was always really into just kind of like the vibe of making music. Like I had been into music since a young age too, like Michael Jackson was one of my earliest inspirations. But then after a year, I decided to move back in, and that's actually when Ellis hit me up, because it was right after he had done the residency program.
Okay.
So this is late 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yo, like I've been doing this music thing and I want to take it to the next level, but I need some help.
Right.
And I was like, oh, like a manager? He's like, yeah, exactly. And I was like, yo, I got you. Like, I got you for sure.
What did you see in him that made you decide this is the path I want to take?
A lot of it was his willingness to just go out and like figure out that there's programs and outlets to help him in music, like the residency. And just
there's retro.
Yeah, like going to open mics too.
Right.
Yeah, just like getting ourselves out there.
I really saw that Elias was serious about it, and I took that very highly, and then became super serious about it too.
So what did you see in him, Elias?
I already seen it since high school, but I just was keeping it in my head, kind of thing, because I already knew by the way he was speaking, he's just a smart, well-spoken person, and very like loyal and transparent. The way we communicated was like not normal in a good way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like we knew what we wanted, we plotted, like we didn't even need to say much, we just know up here.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I need someone like that. Like
on
I
the
need
same
a right
wavelength.
hand. Yeah.
You guys
Definitely.
are two passionate people and you just connected on the same vision.
Yeah.
And
pretty
that's
much.
So what do you do for you guys to promote your music? You did the residency, but now that you're 21 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do the residency anymore. So what do you do now to learn more about yourself and promote?
A lot of like promotion that I found is super helpful is just like in-person things and like getting other people to like listen to your music and share the music. And like for like, pretty much ever since we started like doing this music thing, we would always be adamant about going into other people's shows and pulling up to other people's like little events,
right,
and just like being there, you know. And then like once something would come out, just hit up everyone that we know and let them know that it's out, and like, yo, could you give it a listen and like help us get it out there?
Yeah. A big first step is supporting your fellow friends / artists,
right?
Yeah.
To get people to mess with you too, because then it's just a whole network based thing, and it's just like genuine too,
right?
So that's another big thing too. As far as promotion, I mean, social media, of course, and that's what the good thing about Lane. Sometimes like I'll be lacking on that, and Lane will remind me, oh wait, you need to post something, you need to keep the people,
right,
you know, focus on you again, you know.
So another really important thing for anyone that like is listening is the quality of your content. You know, it's not about how much you post, it's about like if your posts look really crisp, really clean, they're well done, good edits, you know, like you have a thoughtful caption in there,
right?
That really helps, because I mean, if you just compare like just between like a post that does and doesn't, there'll be a lot more comments, a lot more people actually engaged in it.
Yeah, I just released a project too, Texture, and didn't we promote that with like newsletters? What else?
Yeah, and we also got like a few interviews too. Like
Right.
Como and like Dan's Tunes,
Wow.
Seattle Refined. They all
Right.
did an
Mhm.
interview for Bumbershoot and for the album release, which
Yes.
is something that like I had planned before Bumbershoot
Right.
Yeah.
to get it ready for like once we actually released on the day of.
Right.
That was dope. Getting interviewed with
Yeah.
Cairo 7.
That's sick.
That was some next level. That was really cool, and I really appreciated that. It showed that like my work's actually, like it's actually like coming
Together.
together. Thank you.
Mhm.
Right.
It was crazy.
So when it comes to making music, do you edit or produce your own music, or how does that come about? How do you find producers if you're not the one producing your music?
Right. Well, I have like a producer now that I work with mostly named Dimitri
Okay.
Voorhees, also known as Maligan, and we've been working for a year and a half, 2 years, and we met literally like person to person, literally,
Yeah,
not
it's
on
natural.
DMs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It wasn't
super
on
cool.
social media. It was right after a show. He's like, oh, "Let me produce for you." I was like, "Oh, okay, bet. You really you
Right.
seem passionate. All right." Went to his home studio and he was about it. So ever since then, I was about it in the first place. So we just started making some great music. And as far as the creative process, it's a lot of me sonically knowing what should be there in a certain time.
Right.
You know, I'll say like for me, my creative process is a lot about composition and kind of understanding how each sound should sound together.
Right.
As far as production stuff, I never had the resources to do that.
That's
but
fair,
if I
right.
did, I definitely would be good at it. It's just
Right.
I'm waiting until that time, you know.
How important is it to you to lock down with just one producer? Because you see all these people make just random producers they meet or they have a little bit of connection with, but every song is produced by a different person. How important is it to you?
Yeah.
Very important, just to stay loyal to
Yeah.
your, to the first people that were there.
And also that producer, after working with an artist for so many times, will really start to understand the artist's
See the
sound.
vision.
Yeah, and like we'll have already done a different bunch of like things to their voice and like tried different beat patterns with them, and then figured out what works best.
Yeah, like I've worked with like Sango, and that was when I was like working a lot with Dimitri / Maligan, and that was a big thing for my career. I had 30K. I have 30,000 views on this song I made with him called 1111. Oh, also produced by Esta as well. And that's a label too that they're in called Selection.
Right.
So I was like, that's cool. I actually was one of my favorite labels, Selection, because they have a cool sound that I like personally.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dimitri understood, and we still kept making music, and we're still homies.
Right.
So.
So how many albums are you in? Just this Texture one, or do you have
I have EPs.
EPs?
Yeah. So like the first EP was called Quality, and then Texture. So then I released singles between that, and then Texture came out after around August 30th on all platforms.
Right.
And right now I'm just kind of taking a musical hiatus, kind of figuring out what.
Meeting new people, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
meeting people, meeting you, meeting
Yes.
Bilal, meeting Garrett.
Yeah.
Gary.
Gary,
Sorry.
Gary.
the producer.
Thank you so
shout out
much,
our
brother.
producer.
Shouts out to Gary real quick for this beautiful
Greatest
space.
producer out here.
But yeah, so I'm kind of just I'm just waiting for the right time to get creative again.
Right.
Mhm.
Just meeting
We're
people.
also just trying to save up money so that we can have more
Opportunities.
opportunities and like come up with a really nice visual before the end of the year.
Yeah, because we're independent still. We still got to handle some things too, like on our end for our rights,
Right.
like BMI, ASCAP, and things like that. So it's just all happening behind the curtain.
Right. So what is the sound you're trying to go for? What are you trying to portray to your audience?
That everyone has a voice. Everyone should be included. Like you also are a star.
Mhm. Everyone
like
can come to the dance floor.
Yeah, everyone's on the
Doesn't
same
matter
level.
if you can dance or not.
Yeah, seriously. Everyone is on the same level. Even though I'm on a stage like 4 feet higher, we're still on the same level. We're still human.
Right.
We're here for one purpose. I mean, one of the things I say is be the vessel. Another thing is free your heart.
Right.
And that's the thing. That's what I had to do. When I told my mom I wanted to make music, she wasn't having it. I literally had to run. I literally had to move out.
That's
and
fair.
yeah, it was. And
How did that affect you, knowing that your parents might have not supported your dream in music?
it was so hard, especially because I didn't see him for like 10 years.
Wow.
Like a whole decade, fam. And I was 8, and then all the way till 18, and I told him what I wanted to do, and he was like, "What? Like, you should be an engineer. You should be a doctor, And I was like, "Yeah, that seems fair too," because he's like, he grew up in a different customs, and he seen visions for me probably when I was younger, but I personally, for me, it made me stronger.
Okay.
It made me write my music with way more passion, and just stronger as a person too. Like
Right.
because like other people's have their mom and dad in their life, and
Right.
other people don't have parents at all. So for me to have my mom, I'm blessed.
Right.
You feel me? And she's supporting me now, so I can't complain.
If there's one major lesson you learned from your family life and values, what would that lesson have been?
Always stay connected with family. Don't lose that connection, because family's all you got. Even if you're working or so busy and you don't have time, like always at least text them, call them, making sure they're okay.
Right.
That's the least you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's sometimes what it takes, though, when it comes to actually putting out a project that you're proud of or an event you're proud of. Like you said, your mom's eyes may have changed and her perspective may have changed now that you're able to put together and be part of the residency.
Yeah, exactly. I did background vocals for Macklemore. Like, that's a huge deal, and got paid. So I was like, that's a big deal. Told my mom about that, and she was psyched. And she told me at first, she was like, oh, I don't know, I wasn't sure about coming because of music, but I was like, I knew I wanted to see you at least. So my conscience told me to be there.
Right.
So it's because of religion and things like that.
Right.
So it was a lot of emotion, a day with a lot of emotion, and it was cool because we had a picture where we're like locking eyes and stuff, and I'm like way taller than her. It's like so much growth and love, so it was cool.
So we've been talking like behind the scenes a lot about platforms and what you can do with your platform. Can you tell the audience what your main goals are for your platform as you continue to grow?
I want to promote awareness on mental health, climate justice, things that we need to fix, and things we need to do together as human beings.
Yep.
Also promoting love, connecting people.
Right.
Because a lot of people are like antisocial. I noticed in Seattle, a lot of people are not. But just inclusiveness.
Right.
Yeah, those are like my main things I want to promote.
You said when you first came to Seattle, you felt welcomed, but then you also just pointed out that you feel people are disconnected.
Yeah.
So do you see the term the Seattle freeze lately as you grow up? Do you see that term?
The Seattle freeze? Tell me
Yes.
more about that.
Seattle freeze is this thing where people find it hard to connect with people in general when they move to Seattle because people are unwelcoming in a way. But you're saying that you felt welcomed. So how has that changed or stayed the same since you've matured?
Well, it wasn't like right away I was like welcomed. It took a while, like some steps I had to. It took a couple like a year, like doing open mics, doing anything I can to get myself out there and to promote my art. Also, when I perform 120%. People can see that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And people come up to me and being like, "Damn, I really love your music. I really like how hard you're going." So I realized passion beats everything. Like as long as you're passionate about your art, like nothing can stop you.
It's true.
Yeah. Or anything.
Right.
Just yeah.
Do you feel that it's easy or hard to make connections as an independent artist in Seattle?
I think it's pretty easy if you actually put yourself out there.
Right.
Like if you are passionate about this, like you said, it'll show through to other people, and they'll respect that. I mean, from our experience at least, Seattle has been really like welcoming.
Right.
And we have a lot of friends that make music that we didn't have a couple years ago.
Right.
Which I think is an amazing thing to
Right.
see these young people really pursuing a dream of creating art.
Right.
And I think like in the core group, there's a lot of love, but obviously there is some type of divide between like the different regions, like north and south. But
what do you think it's going to take to break down that divide?
honestly, I think just like more so of the artists that aren't like that, kind of getting some success.
Okay.
They'll see that they're better together.
Together is better, And
Yeah.
there's artists too. Like I did a show at Chop Suey, and afterwards, this guy's like, I just seen your show. Like it's like, man, how'd you do it? How'd you get this opportunity to perform like here? And I was like, but just staying connected with the residency, and that's the first step. Telling someone that like is a music lover and a music maker about programs like that too.
Right.
So they can form a community too. Because once you do the residency, you come in with new artists around you too, and you connect that way, like that. So it's like a fresh minds and fresh artists. So it's perfect. That's kind of how it was for me.
But people kind of awaken at different ages. What if they realize
Yeah.
they're 21 and now music's actually what I'm passionate about. What do you recommend for people who can't be part of the residency?
I'll literally tell them different things. Like, there's different things to do that I'm, at least from my knowledge, like retro, you can be any age.
Tell us
any
more
race.
about retro. If people don't know
Retro
what that is.
open mic is, I think it's Black Student Union who runs it at at the UW Seattle.
At the Ethnic Cultural Center.
Right.
I think it's on Brooklyn, right outside of UW.
Every first Monday of the month, it's only $1, and you sign up on their Facebook page. It's really easy. Tell them what you do. It could be anything. It can be comedy. It can be it could just be anything.
Spoken word, dance, all that.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is to be a person of color living in Seattle?
Very important, and it's also very important to be aware in what area you're in too.
Right.
Yeah, because it's different.
Right.
I could tell you that much too. Especially just driving around in Mercer Island today. That was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunity in Seattle. That's something that I always will never take for granted. You know, like I always thank my parents for getting the house in Maple Leaf when they did, when it was only like $250,000. Now it's worth like 1.5 or something.
Million?
Yeah. Just because of the neighborhood, because they got a new light rail coming in.
Wow.
But
like
there's a lot of opportunity. You know, there's some good schools here. There's really great businesses here, and there's now there's an emergence of an artistic space too.
Right.
Which is brilliant.
It's true, because like even in Minnesota, like there was no programs like the residency or open mics even too.
Yeah.
And I talked about that at this opportunity. It was a fundraiser for the Vera Project, called the Viva Vera Gala, and I was speaking upon that, and it was dope. A lot of people were hearing me, and heard that I was just like super happy of being in the city. And even in Minnesota, like I would even ask my mom, I was like, is there any programs when I was younger? Is there any programs or any things I could do with like drumming? And it was only school. It was only like school. Yeah. So Seattle just has so many outlets, and people just need to search for it.
Right.
I'll say.
Do you think artists that have been able to make a name for themselves in Seattle are helping out the community and other artists enough? Do you feel like Macklemore is doing everything that he can do to help out other Seattle artists, or do you not think it's promoted enough? Or because personally, I only found out about the residency about a month ago.
Yeah,
and this
Ali,
is
right?
Yeah, and it's 5 years in the making now.
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like these other artists are making enough of a commitment to help out Seattle and other artists?
I think like in terms of like the residency and why I haven't heard of it, I think it's because a lot of like their like funds comes from their personal funds, because and like the few showcases, but wait, no, I'm pretty sure the showcases are free, right?
As far as
for the residency, like showcasing new artists. So it's, I mean, it seems like they accept donations and they have like a board members that pretty much finance everything.
Yeah.
But like you'll be seeing a lot more of them now after that fundraiser that they did at the Paramount. That was really for just making their ecosystem larger. You know, so that they can have more resources to actually help the youth.
Right.
Yeah, because the first year it was just starting, you know, and like for anything, like if it's just starting, you know, they're trying to figure out themselves first,
right,
and then expose themselves.
So, what are your opinions on? It's Tristan Thompson, right? And Little Mosey.
Travis Thompson.
I call him Tristan Thompson. Travis Thompson and Little Mosey. Do you think they're still on their own journey and don't have the resources?
I don't think you can compare those two people.
No, when it comes to coming back to Seattle and helping out the Seattle area.
Okay, then you definitely can compare them.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're still on a journey and aren't able to help other artists yet? Or
I think that you got to give them that little buffering period of just experiencing this success. You know, like they can't just, you know, like they just started. They're, I mean, Lil Mosey's what, 17?
Right.
Travis is like 23, and I think that like he will be promoting more artists once like his collective Ambom kind of gets more traction.
Right.
But
I agree.
But I mean, I really love the fact that Travis, like he'll actually like show up to shows.
Right.
You know, and he stays around town, like around Auburn. That's where he grew up. But I mean, Lil Mosey, I think he did a terrible job.
You mean Ambom?
Yeah, Ambom. Or is it Burien or Auburn? I think it's.
I forget, but I would like to add on to what he's saying about Travis Thompson. Like, I mean, him being part of the residency and his success, happening. That's good that he's being surrounding himself around the residency, because then he has that in his head when he's making music and growing.
Right.
Yeah.
And when it's the right time for him, he probably will do something to give back to the youth, because I know he's all about that too,
Right.
personally. So that's pretty dope.
So what were you saying about Little Mosey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think he did a good job of like helping out anything in Seattle, really. I mean, he like oftentimes like talks trash about Seattle music, and like he is fully unaware of what's going on in Seattle. And the good thing about him is that he made like a big hit and then moved down to LA and got signed to a major label.
Right.
Which is, I don't know. I don't think that's dope.
Okay. That's true.
Also, I hear from
These
people
days.
that like he's kind of rude.
And, like arrogant.
Yeah,
so.
because I have like this girl used to braid my hair. She went to Ingram High School, and she seen Lil Mosey and wanted a picture, and he was like, nah.
Right.
And like just wasn't opening up. And that's what we're about. We're about opening up and
Yeah,
connecting.
that's
and
the
like,
difference, like allowing like yourself to be a part of the city, and like allowing the people to like know you,
Yeah, but that's like,
What have you learned from Travis Thompson, Little Mosey, Macklemore, even maybe Sir Mix-a-Lot? What have you learned from those artists who have been able to make it big in Seattle?
I've learned that every time they release something, or just like every piece of work that comes out, I can always see like their growth. I can always see like the song. I can always see how like strong they are, and how like better they're getting after each release.
Yeah. Right.
Honestly, I can really hear it.
Are like really innovative too. Like they will always be trying to like do more. It seems like.
Yeah, visually, just different things. Like Travis Thompson came out with this freestyle, and it was like literally in an alley in downtown, and I thought that was filthy.
Right.
Yeah, to promote his new album.
Yeah.
And his show, like little promotional tactics. I mean, from specifically Travis.
Yeah.
He's really good at it, and he has a great team behind him. And that's another thing. Like they all have a strong group of friends that play different parts in the whole process of putting out music and like being an artist.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know one of those people on his team somehow got his whole album cover, whole mural painted in Capitol Hill.
Wow.
On the side of NÜSTRÄ. I thought that was so inspiring. Like,
yeah,
that's
so
like,
cool
like one day I want that to happen for my music,
Right.
because that's just like, that's massive. You're just walking by it in the city and you see that.
Yeah.
It's like huge.
So there's probably, honestly, Seattle's huge. So there's honestly probably thousands of artists in Seattle.
Yeah.
But what do you think it takes for even one more artist to make it big in Seattle? What do you think's the disconnect? Because we've only had, right now, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Little Mosey, Macklemore, Travis, and of course our legends like Nirvana.
Yeah.
Pearl Jam. Was Pearl Jam from Seattle? They were.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
So what was your question?
What does it take for the next few artists to come out of Seattle? Why do you think what's stopping these thousands of artists for even just one of these artists to make it bigger?
That's a good question.
I think it's culture.
The culture, yeah.
Culture. We got to create our own culture here.
This is Bilal, by the way.
It's Bilal Liggins from Who's Crowded. That's what we're all about at Who's Crowded. It's just stimulating the culture of music here in Seattle. We do have the Pearl Jams. We do have Sir Mix-a-Lot, Nirvana, but and that is culture. But as far as the youngsters, the younger crowd, showing what we're all about and creating a voice for ourselves, we've yet to do it. And now's that time, and it's happening now. So that's what's going to change everything.
For sure.
For sure.
And also just a lot comes down to the supporters, like the people in the city, like actually actively supporting these artists,
Right.
like actually buying their merch, like pulling up to their concerts and like promoting them to help them, because that's what lifts an independent artist, is their fans.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what consists of music, those little things. It's not like how it used to be though, with vinyls and looking at the cover art for 30 minutes, and it's not like that anymore.
Right.
But at least in this era though, there's still always a way to support and make
Right.
connections.
What would you personally like to change about Seattle?
Like in the music scene?
Yes.
People not using their phone so much.
Yes.
And I'm only 21, so I'm
Honestly.
just a young head, but with the old soul. I might as well have a bald spot. Shout out Dave Bird.
I think I see one in the. I'm just kidding.
No, because I just love when people look up and acknowledge you and your presence. That's so
Right.
important, and
Yeah.
it's not stressed enough. So That's just one little thing I'll change.
Maybe be a little less passive aggressive. So,
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
please.
For sure.
Yes, yes. I know it rains. I know.
A little more like diligent on the road. Like actually take
Right.
the turn when it's your turn.
So when you're actually working on your music, what is your writing process?
There's a lot of different things I do. I mean, I sometimes will hear a beat that I really like and will just freestyle on it, and then whatever body of like work I have on that on the song, I will just like reconstruct it on my notebook, or I'll just start writing from scratch. I mean, for texture, it was a lot of premeditation and like thinking of like how the first song and the last song,
Yeah.
and like just like
You're
build
also
up.
there a lot for the creation of the beats themselves with Elon, right?
Yeah.
Great producer in Seattle, guitarist.
Yeah, shout out to Elon, right? He helped a lot with Macklemore's journey on his first big album, The Heist,
Right.
Mhm.
and I thought that was really dope to work with him. The Residency got me that opportunity to work on that EP texture.
Right.
But as far as the writing process, I always think about too, like the instruments. Like I got a couple instrumentalists on a couple songs. Got saxophone player named Brandon. I got my guitarist I met in college named Drew.
Just incorporating everyone you can.
Yeah, because it's not just the writing that I think about. It's like everything else too
Right.
that makes up a whole song.
Exactly.
Because song can cause you to feel something.
Right.
Composition, it's the synergy.
Yeah.
So what do you want fans to know about you as a person that they might not get through your music or even live at a concert?
That they don't be scared. Like talk to me. Like
Yeah.
I'm a human. And I just have a story that I want you to hear. It's really what it is. It's really what it comes down to.
Right.
And it's a long journey, but this journey is not done yet. So
Sure.
yeah.
Mm.
What is your advice for upcoming Seattle artists or influencers in general?
Don't let the fire die out, please.
Yeah.
True.
Because it all starts with a spark, but if you let that flame die out, then that's when you lose. So just don't quit. Keep your head up. Keep writing. Keep staying creative. Yeah,
For sure.
because I've been there.
Now, what is the easiest way to contact you, NÜSTRÄ, and you, Leighton?
Follow NÖSTRÄ on Instagram, and from there we have our direct email.
Yeah, we
posted.
do. Everything is NÄSTRÄ Music.
Yeah, that's for like any business inquiries, like bookings and for beats.
Right.
Gotcha. Any final words for Seattle?
Ayo, Seattle, I just want everyone to know that anyone could be the vessel and free your heart. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
This is
Blake.
DJ Blake and NÜSTRÄ and Leighton and Bilal.
Yeah, who's crowded? Shout out.
Come on. Thank
Download the app.
Yes, sir.
you. Ashe.
DJ